Hi there, this is Ms. McDonald with the weekly agenda video for pre-calculus for November 10th through the 14th. So this week we are starting a new unit. We are starting exponential functions. Exponential functions are briefly covered in Algebra 1 and covered a lot more in depth in Algebra 2. So some of the stuff this week may be a little bit of a review. So we are done with rational functions. We're now looking at exponentials. Just as a reminder, the videos that you're watching in the Delta Math serve as the lecture, so make sure you're taking notes and writing down example problems from those videos so that it'll help you on the practice problems that are right after the video. You may need to work on some of this outside of class. Also, you'll be receiving the ACT Math number 6. That'll be on paper. Make sure you turn that in at the end of the week so that way you can do corrections next week. Also, don't forget to do your Math Plaza time. Continue to do the 30 minutes in the Math Plaza. And then on Thursday, you'll have a quiz over the exponential practice problems that you did this week. So again, the quiz will be taken in class. It'll open once you get to class on Thursday. There is a time limit on the quiz. I believe I set it as an hour. There are 10 questions on this quiz. You may not use your notes. This is a closed note quiz, but you are allowed to use a calculator. Either the Desmos calculator or the Inspire calculator is fine. So kind of looking at the calendar for the week, here on Monday, you'll get the ACT number 6 paper. You can start working on that. You can also work on your Delta Math exponentials part 1. We'll do more with exponentials next week. And you can go ahead and start working on your Math Plaza time, getting time in the Math Plaza at some point this week, just 30 minutes total. On Wednesday, a similar agenda, except you might start doing the function flurry activity that's trying to connect exponential functions with linear functions, kind of comparing those. If you don't do that Wednesday, you might do it Thursday if there's time. If there's not time, you may skip the activity depending on how things are going. Again, in class, it'll be the quiz, and then just turn in ACT number 6 by Friday. Before we look at the Delta Math, a couple things just to be aware of. And again, this might be review for sequences. When we talk about an arithmetic sequence, that is another way of saying a linear function. An arithmetic sequence has a common difference. It's something that you're adding or subtracting a common value each time to get the next number in the sequence. That's an arithmetic or a linear function. When you've done linear functions, you were doing arithmetic sequences. A geometric sequence of numbers, like a list of numbers, if you are multiplying by the same thing. Now, technically, some students will say, well, like, what about dividing? Well, if you divide something by 2, that is the same thing as multiplying by 1 divided by 2, or 1/2. So we really talk about exponential functions in terms of what you multiply by, but sometimes that could be a fraction, which is the division. So anyway, a geometric sequence is an exponential function. It has what we call a common ratio, a number that you multiply by each time. And that can be a whole number or a fraction. And also these can be positive numbers or negative numbers. A little bit more vocabulary before we look at the Delta Math. When we talk about growth, if you are reading a problem and it has words like increasing, appreciating, expanding, a problem dealing with annual interest, that is talking about values growing, exponential growth. If you have problems that have words like decrease, depreciate, shrink, that's where we're talking about decay. Values are getting smaller. You're subtracting from 100, or you're subtracting from the whole when you're decaying. So let's take a moment to look at some of the Delta Math that you'll have. Okay, so here in the Delta Math, it's starting off with hopefully review with the arithmetic and geometric sequences, identifying that common ratio, common difference. Again, watch the videos, write down some example problems, finding the nth term. So when you do the nth term, there is a formula for that. Again, it's written in, it'll be in the video. It's also written right here. This is the formula for arithmetic, and you can write that in your notes. And if I come to geometric, this right here is the formula for geometric to help you find that. So those are common things. The biggest thing with just arithmetic and geometric sequences to just be aware of is this right here is referring to the first term. That is the first term of the sequence. So when n is 1, the first number is 1. Whenever we start applying this to exponential functions, when we start talking about like the y-intercept, that is technically the 0 term, the term that comes before this first one. So kind of just be aware, there's a difference between first term and the y-intercept or initial term, the 0 term. So those are kind of two different things that you may run into, especially later here with exponential functions. But I just want to kind of make sure you're aware of those are two different things. I think that's mostly everything for this week. If you have questions, please let Miss Lee know. I've included her email here if you need to email her any questions as well. And I hope you have a great week. Thanks.